Anywhere you go, I'll be right there. Anywhere you go, I'll be right there.
Gaming bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Welcome back, Dota 2 fans. Game 2, potentially the last game of the day here in the CIS group stage for DotaPit Season 5. We got Na'Vi taking on Empire. Na'Vi with a 1-0 lead in the series. They were able to open up with General's signature Sand King in the last draft, and this time they'll grab his signature Bat Rider. So once again, it's a strong opening for Na'Vi. They will opt for the Radiant side here, and OD, though, going to go into the hands of Empire. This is not a hero in general that many teams let slip through the first phase.
OD with a little bit of Mirana mixed in as well. We'll see where the Mirana actually wants to go here, but if you are going to have a roaming Mirana, having an OD set up for those arrows are about as good as it gets. Na'Vi, though, grabbing the Elder Titan along with that Bat Rider. Definitely a couple of powerful heroes. Maybe we didn't see the power of the Elder Titan necessarily as much in the last game, But yeah, for Na'Vi, they will have a lot of control, a lot of initiation. Empire OD with the Imprison is a good way to kind of counteract that. Like just naturally burst the Bat Rider, you imprison whoever's hit with the Stomp and in a little bit of trouble. But Na'Vi definitely looking to play the initiation game.
Yeah, definitely so. And as you mentioned, some good combos leading up into this draft. They're going to ban out the Juggernaut, who's a hero that can deal decently with the Titan, as well as with the Lasso. If he's able to get that spin off, it's hard to burst him down underneath that duration. So just a comfort pick as well for Aloha Dance on Empire side. Empire with a little bit of a switch up in laning early on, where Aloha did not get his coveted safe lane in that last matchup. We'll see if they give him a little bit more of a farm-oriented hero here, though. With as much greed as they have already, OD going towards that mid lane. Perhaps, again, he's going to be sacked a slight bit, playing something along the lines of a lifesteal or something a bit more active in this one. Void still on the field, and of course has a really good combination with the OD. If you can get the OD a Dragon Lance and dump some damage into that Chronosphere, still up a lot of intelligence, it's going to guarantee a good ultimate off the back of that. So you mentioned the imprisonment into the arrow, Chronosphere into the arrow, also a good combination, and perhaps giving that away to Na'Vi when they have the Titan. They are one of the teams that do run safe lane Faceless Void, so I think that's a hero at least on the radar of both sides at this point.
Kunkka also a hero that Na'Vi played pretty darn well in the last game. Still in the pool, and I mean, it did work just so well. It would be another hero that Empire can also pretty easily grab up and have some pretty significant benefits together with that Mirana. So gotta consider these ban picks. You know, like pretty much any strong hero for Empire is also gonna be a strong hero for Na'Vi. So what do you make of that? You go for a Puck as Na'Vi. I mean, you do need a matchup for this OD. Not really going to be blocking anything for Empire. I don't really see a Puck in their future, but man, if Na'Vi can't initiate in this game, they're screwed. Between Puck and Bat Rider, they should be able to start the vast majority of these fights.
Lots of control. Echo Stomp as well with the Dream Coil is a great combination. You pretty much guarantee the stomp on top of the coil, or you force them to snap the coil. And there's the Void, as we mentioned it, going the way of Empire. So felt like Na'Vi could have taken it, but they'll give it up to the opposite side, and they are going to rely on controlling this Void with the Bat Rider and the Puck again. So going forward, we'll see if they're able to successfully do that, but a very strong combination built here from Empire. Another thing I want to mention is the sniper ban. We saw VP earlier kind of coin, I would say, this solution to OD in the mid lane, picking up the sniper. And sure, it's not an absolute, especially up against a potential roaming Mirana in towards that OD, but it is a way to deal with this OD's mid lane, is just keep your distance from him, don't allow him to imprison you, and therefore win the lane by getting much better CS with that 4-second banish.
Puck is not too bad up against the OD. It just is a little bit more of a break-even situation lane-wise, as opposed to Sniper, who, especially even just a handful of rotations, can actually get into a winning stage up against OD. And there are not many heroes that can boast that. Razor and Sniper, I would say, maybe mixed in Viper a little bit sometimes, but Na'Vi, they're going to go ahead and grab the Lion, quick disables, primarily going up against Faceless Void, even more control, even more silence, but this is a good spot where I like to see Omni Knight. You scope out the field a little bit. You see that your Repel and GA are likely to stick if you actually are able to cast them. So Empire, go ahead and grab a pretty significant healer. That being said, even though Repel and GA aren't really going to be purgeable a lot this game, he still is going to be initiated upon a lot. So, I mean, if he gets jumped, he can't cast any of it.
Oh, shit. Oh. Anyways, give me a quick second. You can talk.
All right, so we have a Huskar being banned out. It's like almost a necessity with the Omni Knight, although Omni Knight OD is usually going to be just a solid enough combo. You don't really have to bend over backwards to make sure that works. Empire, their response to any of this initiation is going to be pretty difficult. Positioning is going to be king here for Empire, and in that regard, they need to get some gold in order to get those Blink Daggers, and that means that they need to get a little bit stronger lanes. It does seem like Empire is still looking for their safe lane combination. It's going to be a Legion Commander. I wasn't sure if we're going to see this, because you do want to have some sort of response. The now Legion Commander with the Press the Attack and the Omni Knight Repel, you will have some pretty good responses to stuns and lassos and whatnot.
I really like the lineup overall that Empire has assembled, and I feel like one of the most underrated aspects of this pick in the Legion Commander is her Purge, and that's going to do a lot of work up against a lineup that wants to silence you, wants to lasso you, wants to control you with the Lion as well. So a little bit of a deviation from both squads here in this last phase. Dityaraz Clinks is going to be the pickup into Void OD. Don't know if I really love it. I feel like the Omni Knight was the pick potentially that won this draft here for Empire, getting it as late as they did. Omni Knight OD is always extremely cancerous against a lineup that's extremely magic damage based and control based. Omni Knight's going to do a lot of work. But as you mentioned, I mean, if Na'Vi can come out of these lanes with an advantage, get an early set of initiation items, they can blow up this Omni Knight before he's able to do anything in these fights. But there's just a lot of counter initiation on Empire's side with the potential of Aloha Dance's Chronosphere, potential of a Blink-In coming out from the Legion Commander as well, and even just the imprisonment from G's OD.
So last pick from Na'Vi, though, is going to offer them a lot of tower damage. So if you have all this initiation, you can get those kills. Doesn't really matter if you can't kill the towers afterwards. Clinks does that pretty darn well. Outside of that, he also is a hero that is kind of okay grabbing a Diffusal Blade. It's maybe going to come after the Desolator and those harder hitting items. But hey, he does get some serious value at just purging off. Just for the slow, it's really good with the Clinks. Adding the fact that you're going to be taking off Repel and GA and whatnot, it makes it even better. So I do think that this is a pretty darn good pick for Na'Vi last, but I think I'm with you. I like how Empire have kind of set up with their draft, as long as they don't get completely dumpstered in the lanes. But with this setup, it doesn't seem like that's going to be super easy for Na'Vi to have happen. Sneeko going to get found out and hit with the three-handed arrow. Two heroes beating down Rip Lion. Who's going to get it? Hammer hits a little bit harder.
Yeah, and they even saved the purification there. So economical kill coming up from Empire. It's certainly a good start for them. They're a team that once the mid game comes around can be very scary if they get a good laning advantage, and you could say that about both teams certainly. So we'll see how General is able to do in his lane. Generally speaking, is very good on the Batrider, especially if he gets some help. So usually we see like Na'Vi with Omni Knight Batrider or things of that nature, and potential for maybe Artsal Titan to join up with General in the early game. As we mentioned before, Dendi should at least draw evenly in this mid lane, and being that self-sufficient ranged safe laner, Dityaraz should do pretty well without any support in his lane. So I think a lot of this game is gonna, or at least the early mid game, is gonna come down to how this early game goes for both sides in the laning stage.
Yeah, and that is going to even further boil down to how many arrows does the roaming Mirana get to connect. 100% so far, not bad. 4 clarities and quite a few arrows to be thrown out. The Observer Ward is going to see Mirana's rotation. The Radiant Observer Ward is going to see Mirana's rotation for quite a lot of time at this angle. So Puck vulnerable only from the north side. If Mirana's able to land just 2 arrows and just get 2 kills with this early Mirana, she's going to be pretty darn happy. But it doesn't really seem like there are many opportunities with this warding, with the fact that Lion's kind of patrolling and making sure that Ditchara doesn't get hit with an arrow. You can still farm those hard creeps. The arrow's pretty good at that, but right now, a little bit of a slow start for the Mirana opportunity-wise. And that, of course, is going to mean that Ditchara's under that much less pressure, and we have a Clinks versus 2 melee heroes. There's going to be a lot of Searing Arrow spam.
Yeah, already Ghostic. I mean, he has tons of regen. He's got the press the attack if need be as well, but already fairly low in this lane. Meanwhile, mid lane. Oh, the arrow is going to connect onto Dendi, and this will likely be the second kill netted by Miposhka's Mirana, essentially by her lonesome. And we see G with only 1 level in the imprisonment, able to close the distance to get that off onto Dendi. So perhaps a bit of a misstep from the Na'Vi mid laner.
1 setup for the Mirana. That's not a bad start, even with the Observer Ward coverage. So Dendi's got to watch out there. Mirana is once again spotted, but again, you're not going to stay off the lane as a Puck. You have to still stay in the area to get the CS and put the pressure back onto the OD. Let an OD free farm in the mid lane, and that is not a winning strategy, not by any stretch, as really any hero. So Dendi is playing as he has to, but taking a serious risk while doing so. And in the meantime, towards top lane, Aloha Dance going 2v1 isn't really bothered all that much by it. Has a magic stick already, and between that and Time Walk, killing him off is going to be incredibly difficult. Arrow again lands, and that should be another kill on the Puck.
Dendi gonna go down for the second time in about as many minutes here. 2.5 minutes into the game. 3-0 for Empire, and we haven't really even seen anything but this imprison arrow combo come out from their lineup. So all their combinations still to be had going forward in the game, and Empire definitely content with where they are right now. As you mentioned, giving attention over to General in the top lane certainly makes sense for Na'Vi. He's going to be one of the linchpins of the lineup going forward, but there's no real kill potential on Aloha Dance in this top lane unless he sticks around too long and takes too much chip damage.
And that's just a very careless mistake to make, and Aloha Dance is probably good enough to not make that mistake. At least in the bottom lane, like, they're still getting to draw a pretty safe experience here, but Imposhka's going to chuck out an arrow. Snake's going to walk right into it. Ghost Stick is going to get repelled. Lots of damage onto this line. Can't cast anything in response, and it's not quite enough. You get the Hex out onto Ghost Stick. Spike follow-up as well, but Ditchira's out of mana. Used all those arrows earlier and doesn't have any Vakila build-up or Basilius or anything like that, so he is hurting on the mana department, even though it is so cheap, and still not done yet. Purify is there. Couple more right clicks with the leap over. Mirana, just one more shot, is going to grab this Klink's kill. A little bit slow, but hey, it's a kill nonetheless.
Why use Starfall when you can just slowly right-click him down? Either way. Yeah, no mana, so good recognition there from the Mirana, knowing he could not skeleton walk away. And again, another kill netted by Miposhka's rotations. He's been phenomenal in this early game, much like Artstyle was in the previous game on his Kunkka. So Empire certainly winning the rotation battle in this one.
Now the G has that little bit of an edge versus the Puck. Like, even with the rotation in from Artstyle, doesn't seem like that's enough to make this OD really scared of anything. The Astral Imprisonment harassment is definitely going to add up, and you still have to worry about this Mirana, and all this is pulling attention away from Aloha Dance up towards top lane. Now in a 1v1 matchup with General, it's actually in a pretty opportunistic spot right now, although only one time lock, which is not really what he wants. He's still level 5 versus level 3. This is a one lane for Empire top.
Yeah, absolutely. They've committed all this time to try and keep him down, and have done complete
arrow on
opposite.
Dendi.
Arrow does connect. Once again, the Stomp is going to keep GFA for a moment's notice. And it looks like Dendi will be able to bottle up underneath the fog, but either way, this mid lane is an unmitigated disaster thus far for Na'Vi, much like the top lane is, as you mentioned. I mean, General, sure, he's found some farm, but Aloha Dance has not been pressured at all, really, on this void with 18 CS, and he's hitting level 6 relatively soon.
Poshka tried to leap in and steal the bottle, which Dendi dropped for the courier. Didn't work, but wasn't punished either, so I guess that's fine. Ditchira's starting to build up into what I assume is going to be a ring killer. Really does need that mana regeneration. They're going to find King R, but only level 1 spike. Stun duration isn't that long, so King R is just going to slap Repel on himself and walk away. Ghost Stick is getting more farm out of this lane than the Klinks, even after having taken all that Searing Arrow spam, and he can turn around and go pretty aggressive soon. Once he gets that level 6, he'll be rewarded for it. Like, overwhelming odds, just
Huge
crushing through the
overwhelming
soft
odds, yeah.
Klinks. They don't have enough bulk on this lane. They don't have enough regen on Klinks.
They're relatively low. Needs to be careful here, holding a skill point as well, just in case he needs that skeleton walk going forward. But this early game is going swimmingly here for Empire. There's no real reason for them to shuffle
Artstyle.
anything up at this point. Repel up. Artstyle, 15 HP. No overwhelming odds left. Mango onto the LC as well. Dendi is going to jaunt out to his orb, but it's not quite down to the low ground. King R was looking for him. He will find the haste rune so that Dendi cannot get it. And meanwhile, Ghost Stick takes out Ditya in the jungle. Was probably looking to pack the creep. He's not even close to level 6, excuse me, on that one. So he's just taken out in the jungle by the LC. Aloha Dance has his Chronosphere up. The mid lane is going amazingly for Empire, and it just feels like Na'Vi have fallen apart entirely in this second game.
And the Mirana is still on the field. Arrow, okay, well, that one was a little bit off. She does have a leap to try to get away from General, but I mean, does she even need it? General doesn't have Firefly, so he can't actually do any damage. Yeah, 5-0 here for Empire, and the worst is still to come, right? Like, Chronosphere is up. Faceless Void has gone for a pretty defensive build with all this Time Walk, but, you know, once he gets Time Lock, then he's going to be even more difficult to deal with them at this top lane. Plus, Chronosphere, you can even look at some solo kills or some kills with some very minor amounts of help, but most importantly, we have Duel up on Empire, so more aggression is going to be more rewarding for them. And no such skill drop on the Na'Vi side as Puck narrowly dodges another arrow. He's not level 6 yet.
It hit on
He's level
Saneko.
5, and G's level 7.
The arrow did connect onto Seneko 5 seconds, but
Oh.
regardless, shoot arrow, hit arrow, I suppose. Miposhka 2-0-2 thus far out of the 5 kills, involved into 4. And Ditya is just sitting bot lane under skeleton lock right now. They can't do anything for this Radiant side. The farm is dominated by the Dire, and they haven't even had to move their Void just yet. He's already level 7.5, looking to eclipse that level 8 mark before he's even thought about using Chronosphere, just because all the other lanes are going so well. There is some deep vision down now for the Dire side as well, behind Dendi, who's had a rough start to say the least. Only looking at Magic Wand and Null Talisman on top of the boots here, 8 minutes in. He's got his Aquila and Treads completed up on top of his bottle.
Looking at Ghost Stick, though, on bottom. He has no mana, this Legion, so maybe they can get this kill if they can grab him with the lasso. Need to disable. No, it's just fast enough. Ghost Stick does have some help incoming, but the Omnet's going to get hexed up. The Spike, they'll be able to take him down. Here comes the Chronosphere onto 3 heroes. Ditya is going to take a Purify to the face, and that will bring him down. G also arriving. Navi need more heroes here, but I don't think they have heroes to spare. General's going to get forced out. Art Style taking a lot of damage on the way out. Gets hit with the arrow in the face. Will go down as well. Dendi do anything here? No. It's just a slaughter for Empire, man.
Yeah, and unfortunately they're not the best at pushing buildings when this happens, but at least they get a kill on Ghost Stick early on with the lasso. General does end up surviving, so we'll have a set of drums here shortly, unless he looks to bypass that straight into the blink. But either way, yeah, it does feel like there's very little Navi can do in response. They'll send Ra up, to the top lane and try and desperately find him some farm. He does have that death pack now, so can look to kind of be a little bit more beefy, hang around the map, get a little bit of an extra influx of farm from killing off those creeps. And he does have the soul ring, so can do it very reliably.
So the strength of Navi's draft, as we said in the draft phase, is the fact that they are able to get really clean pickoffs once they get their initiation tools up, and you're looking at blink daggers for almost anyone. So even though they are off to a really slow start, they will still be able to have opportunities just to get pickoffs on key heroes, slow down the push, which as you said is already slow from Empire, and start to claw themselves back into a decent spot. They're not in that spot just yet, but it is some way of recovering into this game. As long as the Clinks is able to prevent himself from dying too many times, as long as the Batrider keeps getting kills, as long as the Puck keeps surviving, Navi still have a chance, but it doesn't seem like Empire really interested in letting up because they're setting up for a duel.
Yeah, Arrow is actually going to be just off the mark from Miposhka in general. Able to survive because of it. They get the tower, last hit to G. Lasso comes through. Impale is there onto G, but he's going to be purified up, and he'll be just fine. Imprison now going to come out on to the Batrider, but they don't have a good angle for this Arrow. They do have one for a duel, though. Starfall going to come through. One connects onto General. Arrow is there point blank range. They'll get the kill with the overwhelming odds. Unfortunately, they do not get the duel damage out of it, but regardless, they will get a kill and a tower back out safely out of that mid lane, and it's a key target to bring down in terms of stifling item progression. Now top lane, Aloha Dance had a Chronosphere, could have thought about using it, could have stopped the tower from right clicking him as well, and maybe look to bring down this Clink with G inbound with a haste rune. But Ditya for now will survive.
They're charging instead towards mid with that haste rune. G looking for art style, not quite gonna find the Elder Titan. But maybe Aloha Dance just figures, I don't have max out time lock, I need that extra damage, I'm just gonna hold on to it. And I think that's pretty reasonable. Faceless Void is just this kind of like card up Empire's sleeve who hasn't really had to do a lot for the team, so he's just free farming top lane. And Faceless Void safe lane with free farm is going to be hitting really hard. And he doesn't even need to be hitting hard, he just has to cast a Chronosphere, and that's also very possible for him to do as well. But on top of that, he's got the Vlads, making duels all the more easy for Ghost Stick to win. Ditya's going to snipe the Courier. Something for Navi. They may be able to get a couple of kills here as well. They have a Coil and a pretty high-level Puck. See 2 targets.
Oh, Dust. He's going to catch Ditya Raw. Miposhka looking for him here.
They want Void instead.
Try and get the point-blank arrow. Leap forward. Starfall. G looking to get into range here and cannot.
In the meantime, they found the Faceless Void in the middle of nowhere, lassoed him, and used Elder Titan ultimate and Puck ultimate just to guarantee that kill. Very expensive, but at this point, very worth it for Navi.
A kill they desperately need at this point. 8-2 is the score, 12 minutes in. Taking a look at the lead that Empire have built. It's around the 5K mark in way of net worth and experience. A little bit more passive, not quite as drastic there at a 2,500 lead. But you take a look at the net worth, and it's dominated even after the death by the Dire side. And as soon as Aloha Dance does come up, he's got his full Vlad's treads. He's got the Chronosphere available, so they can look to put this to work. It'll be another level until G can skill up his Sanity's Eclipse, but either way, they should be able to do a lot of work in these fights.
General needs a little bit more time. He's gone for the drums first build up against Empire. That is entirely reasonable. You gotta make sure you have that mobility up, but he needs the Blink Dagger so he can go a little bit more so on the aggressive with the team. They really just need that Blink Dagger and any sort of initiation items in order to get Ditchra a little bit more space. Right, Ring of Aquila, Soul Ring, it's kind of like the base items here for the Clinks, but he really wants to be going in for some heavier hitting items. And it seems like Power Treads are coming up first, which is again fine, but he doesn't have those power items just yet. So initiation may happen, but Na'Vi are not guaranteed kills off of that initiation with Clinks being so underfarmed. Maybe every once in a while with Finger of Death on the Lion. That's about it.
I haven't spoken much about Ghost Stick's item progression. He's got 1,300 gold, so likely just looking to save towards a Blink Dagger on top of the phase boost. And after the start he had in the lane, was hurt a bit by the couple of deaths that he conceded. But either way, with an Omni Knight behind him, Legion Commander always a lot stronger. So, Purification, throw the arrow at the duel as well. Should be able to net a kill or two, get some raw damage once that initiation tool does end up coming.
We do have an Ether Lens being built up on OD after having gone for Aquila. So, going pretty deep into these, I'm going to call them basic items, but, Ether Lens is a pretty interesting one to see on OD. Usually go for a little bit more of a smashy build, get the Hurricane Pike build up first thing. But, he has Power Treads already, so that combined with a really good start means he can go for a couple of extra luxury items. And Ether Lens is actually a pretty good item just defensively. Being able to imprison, Bat Riders that are initiating or whatever ally is in trouble. So it is an interesting item to see mixed in.
Yeah, against the lasso as well as offensively, you have a Marana, so setting up, the imprison or being able to set up the imprison without being in range yourself to be vulnerable is certainly at a premium here for Empire if they're able to get that imprison off, defensively or to begin the fight. It's certainly going to bode well for them. So definitely don't hate the choice here. Gives them a bit of extra mana pool, which is always great versus OD. Translates into damage either way, so see how they end up faring. But for now, Empire certainly in the driver's seat. We'll see if they're able to put together the entire 5-man combination as they were briefly towards that mid lane.
Not yet any duel wins. I think that's probably like the worst thing that's happening here for Empire. And it's only 12 minutes in, so it's not even a terribly huge deal that Ghost Stick hasn't chalked up any duel damage just yet. May even get to level 11 for that level 2 duel before he's really going to start looking for it. But yeah, Empire really just want to play this game as far as right now is concerned as fast as they can. Always look for those kills, always look for those pickoffs, use the Chronosphere, use the duel, and really stop these Na'Vi heroes from farming. They've already done a pretty good job at locking them out. But, Bat Rider's getting a free time over towards bottom lane, and a blink on Bat, especially on General's Bat, can buy Na'Vi a lot of space. I wonder what Dendy's going for. He's not exactly in the perfect spot net worth-wise. Do you Veil first here, or do you go straight blink? Veil's pretty good here.
Yeah, they have a lot of magic damage. Veil definitely synergizes with them well. They are against an Omni Knight, but if they're able to burst the Omni Knight, with a Veil or something of the sorts, then that should bode well for them. I feel like they absolutely need some way to get in on top of this Omni. It's almost like you have to lasso him as well as silence the OD at the same time, so I would still prefer the Blink Dagger first to come out for Dendy, but Veil makes sense, and considering he's had a bit of a rough start and died a couple times, it is definitely an easier build up.
Well, nothing else pretty much at all. So no items outside of the 5 minutes of items that we just discussed. Lion does have level 6, so for Na'Vi that's usually Finger of Death is use it, get kill every single time. 600 damage 12 minutes in is pretty disgusting. But where are the opportunities?
I feel like what the ability does is more disgusting.
Inside out.
Yeah, it's
trying to turn inside out.
Really messed up, honestly. Kind of sick, twisted person does that.
I mean, Lion doesn't look like
Yeah,
he's really sane.
Lion
I
fits the
think
bill.
in Dota 1, didn't it play like the splash damage
Yeah,
kill thing, like the
yeah.
splat when you got a kill with that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that in this game.
Yeah. Volvo, please. Ma immersion.
Yeah, we demand blood and splatter in this game. It's not violent enough.
King R, please. Oh, hopefully able to get back. I think it was it Aloha earlier that was having issues? Either way.
It was
Empire.
everyone, I
Yeah,
think.
Empire. Need new interwebs. But hopefully we get this one underway, guys. This is still upper bracket action, so loser is not out. We'll move on to face Vega, I believe, in the lower bracket. And the winner will move on to face VP, who took out Vega 2-0 earlier today in a very impressive game in Game 2. So a lot more Dota to be had in just the CIS region alone here for the DotaPit Season 5 group stage. But looks like we will finally get back underway in this one. A couple of smokes picked up by the Empire side, and it looks like they're looking to press this advantage that they have and get active now. Use up this Chronosphere once Aloha Dance comes back up. Dire Scan is going to catch Dendi here, top lane. So Ghostic posturing up very defensively here.
Walked into the creep wave, not really expecting any kills, it seems. So just getting a little bit of cash influx, never a bad thing. I'm interested to see where Aloha Dance is actually going to end up. They do complete the Ether Lens here on the OD. Aloha Dance going to smoke up, smoke into Chronosphere. That's the play with the level 3 Starstorm plus a level 3 Purification. Whoever they find should be dead unless Aloha Dance really messes up. Na'Vi don't really have any great defensive spells versus the Chronosphere like they had last game with the Shadow Demon.
There's potential for Dityara to blow this smoke, but Dust and Sentry on both Miposhka and King R. So patience from Na'Vi right now. They do have this ward behind the tree line to see anyone who approaches. Not sure if Suneko is exactly the kill they want, but G was looking for the Imprison. Does have that Aether Lens completed up, so decent cast range on that. And can set up for the Mirana here. But doesn't look like this rotation will bear fruit just yet, but Na'Vi looking to occupy this mid lane.
They have to go in pretty deep in between tier 2s and tier 3s if they want to get any kills here. And even then, like, in the best case scenario, they kill off some random support hero that isn't really going to be the greatest. So, yeah, staying in that mid lane is probably just going to be a waste of time. Like, in the meantime, Nichira, with Clink's level 3 Searing Arrows, doing pretty standard Clink's things. Power Treads completed, tower down. But here's where Empire starts to get really scary. With the ability to force fights, given the Legion Commander a Blink Dagger, plus a Chronosphere up towards top lane, Arrow is also going to connect onto Dendi. That is so much stun duration. No chance for him to jaunt out.
Yeah, nicely played by Empire. Just combinations on paper that are coming to fruition for them in this game. And G feeling rather confident bottom lane alongside Ghostic. They did pick up the Blink Dagger now on Ghostic's Legion Commander. Not sure if they have enough kill power just this duo alone, but it looks like they are trying to find something with the Moonlight Shadow arrow. Flies out and will connect onto the line on the high ground. Jump forward, there's the duel. Stomp will be there in time to save Suneko. No, the Purification from the low ground from King R finishes him off. Thought it may have just delayed it out not to get the damage, but they do find the first duel win immediately off the Blink Dagger. And we spoke about, the potency of Omni Knight LC, and rears its ugly head for Na'Vi there as Empire pick up their 10th kill of the game here 15 minutes in. And maybe take a look at Roche. They've got the arrow to stop him from hitting. They've got an Omni Knight. They've got a lot of damage from G as well as Ghostic. So they'll walk on into the pit here as King R once again will DC.
Right. Well, I mean, they have the heal from the Legion Commander, I guess both heals from Legion Commander. Outside of that, of course, Omni Knight doesn't really have that much mana sustain, so I don't really want to be spamming Purify in there. It's going to happen, this Roshan attempt, at such a time where Batrider is just short of picking up his Blink Dagger, which is like the perfect time for Empire. If he somehow is able to grab it while at the same time being in this area, that'll be miraculous for Na'Vi. And a fight around the Roche pit with the Coil and the ET can certainly bring them back into a little bit more parity in this game. But I don't know, with this OD, it seems like this Roshan is probably going to drop pretty quickly, especially if the Faceless Void decides to join them from bottom lane. That Vlad's Lifesteal Aura and damage armor, whatever, makes it just so much safer to go for Roche. So it seems like this is going to be the perfect time for Empire to make this play. If he had a Blink Dagger right now, Batrider, this could be so dangerous for Empire, but he doesn't.
Yeah, Miposhka not even going to end up using the arrow. Here, just going to give his comrades a bit of mana. And looks like Empire maybe looking for a reaction here, trying to mind game out Na'Vi, as they do have some deep vision down. So if anyone was to make a reaction towards that pit, they should be able to find them. They do have duel up once again. And the Astral Spirit didn't seem to scout anyone, but Na'Vi, wisely so, all moving to the north. Perhaps aware of this potential play here. Likely that they just think they're in Roche, but not leaving themselves open and vulnerable.
Yeah, they see him once again going into Roche, at least Legion Commander. Okay, now they know exactly where the enemies are. Batrider has enough gold for the Blink Dagger, and he's picked it up, but he has shown it off to the Creep Wave. Going to be walking into a fight where Empire still need 15 seconds left for their Chronosphere. Does seem like they're looking for the Tier 1 tower first. If they go for a Tier 1 tower, that's probably all they're going to get. No contest on the Roche. It's a little bit too long to go for both of them. Unless Elder Titan Spirit does a hell of a lot right now. Stomp onto 2. OD still swinging away. Can Na'Vi get here in time to make a play? I don't think it's worth it. They're going to try, though.
That rhymed. Illusory Orb forward. No jaunt in, though. Purification is there, but the lasso... Oh, it was up on the north to the Marana, and then Miposhka is going to get an Urntik off. He will end up going down. Aegis going to be picked up now by G. Jumping forward. Looking for more is Aloha Dance, but looks like everyone from Na'Vi will be able to get out here. Oh, jump forward. Oh, the dual cast animation. It's a little bit too long. Dendi with the blink out. But Aegis in hand now for Empire. They lose a Marana for it and a mid lane tier 1, so not entirely ideal. But OD with Aegis and a Repel behind him. He's going to have his Force Staff completed up here momentarily. Forced to be reckoned with, to say the least, especially having a Chronosphere in front of him. So Empire, look for them to certainly take advantage of this window where they've got this extra life.
Even Empire being 7 kills up, it's Na'Vi finding a lot of farm in a lot of places. Like, they had a 2,500-ish gold lead for a good portion of this game. It's starting to get a little bit closer to 0. And yet a lot of farm is focused on the OD. He is very, very stacked. But this is where you kind of wish you hadn't gone for either lens when you're not able to keep up farming. He has the Force Staff now, so it's starting to come together in a very basic kind of textbook sense for the OD. But Na'Vi actually have a couple of items coming up on the heroes that matter, including this Diffusal Blade Rush we see on Ditchira. So he is ready to answer this Omni Knight as best he can. Dendi has his Blink Dagger alongside the Blink Dagger of General. Na'Vi have all their tools, and Empire, they had an advantage they didn't really push. They may struggle to push it now. They feel the smoke onto...
Yeah, it was a Moonlight Shadow, so they actually saw them under Sentry and Obs right here. So fortunate for Na'Vi that they had the wards down, and perhaps a bit of an oversight not using a smoke on top of that Moonlight Shadow for Empire. But either way, they will back Na'Vi out of that entire bottom half of the map and don't end up taking a tier 1 off it. We kind of talked about the shortcoming of their lineup and their inability to push structures, but they will, for the time being, body Na'Vi back. But Na'Vi, as you mentioned, admirably so, finding a lot of farm. Blink on the Batrider. Blink now finished on Dendi. Veil soon to be up once he picks up the Helm of Iron Will. And Ditya, he's got that full Diffusal that you said he'd build up, and this one up against the Omni Knight. So actually opt to go for it first. Jump forward. They are going to be able to silence up Aloha Dance. He gets purged off, though, by the Legion Commander. Will be able to zip out. He's still alive. Has Chronosphere. Time Walk in 1 second. Ditya is going to be dueled up. Jumping forward. They have a Chrono if need be to kill him off the back end of this. They'll just dust him up, though. One last right click from the Marana is there. Miposhka again finds the kill onto King R. We spoke about it in the draft. That press the attack there, absolutely fight saving for Empire, and now they'll march forward.
They have the Aegis here on the OD, building up towards that Hurricane Pike, which is going to be on the way shortly. And Na'Vi, without their Clinks, lack any sort of damage to actually contest Empire. Not to mention the fact they also don't have Lasso, nor do they have the Coil, so this should be just a free tower here. They'll throw out their spammable spells because they can, and there's no downside to it, but if Na'Vi want to get into a fight, they have to wait another 30 seconds. I think by that time, Empire should have a free roll in. But tower is, again, a struggle for Empire as a draft. Legion Commander, if she has a lot of damage, can bring it down, but no one else is really good at killing it. So orbs will fly, astral spirits will start stomping the ground, and actually make a fight happen. Just 10 more seconds are left until they have both those spells up. Empire are not a team that pushes quickly. Plus, in the meantime, Lion was farming bottom. Ultimately, that exchange, even though it does cost them a Clinks, is not that bad for Na'Vi.
Empire just not great as a draft at capitalizing structure-wise on these kills, and they still are threatening the Chronosphere here mid lane. They still do have the Aegis here for another minute, so they really want to be able to force a fight. But they're just not the best team at slow sieging while that happens. I mean, Ditya is much more of a threat by his lonesome across the map, split pushing, than are any of these Empire heroes up in the face of the Na'Vi structures.
We are going to find a little bit of extra downtime, and as we've already seen, downtime means that Na'Vi are getting more gold faster than Empire. So they're looking for as much downtime as possible, whereas for Empire, they want to push the issue as often and as quickly as possible. We do have General in the air, thinking about going for a Mirana kill. Kind of just sitting there taking hits from a Hellbear. Clinks in the meantime is going to assassinate the Legion by himself.
Didn't even use a purge for it. Very nice.
Tables are turned, and it's going to slip through the tier 2 and tier 3 gap. Na'Vi are starting to rally.
Yeah, Na'Vi are definitely playing as well as they can, given the scenario. And you mentioned the build-up from G. That may seem to hurt him here going forward, as he just doesn't do all that much damage. And only 2 points in the orb. Now, Ditya taking a look at Miposhka as well. There were some pings that came out from the dire side, from the dead Legion commander. But now Ditya can take out this tier 1 with relative ease. Glyph is going to come out for the time being. Can they assemble quick enough, Na'Vi as a unit? Feels like they will be able to. Ditya going to be forced back. A little bit low on mana at this point. Arrow, though, will connect. And that is a long duration arrow onto the Clinks. They will spare no expense here. Use the duel, the Starfall. Ditya, excuse me, will drop. But Hadouken finishes him off. Oh, that is unfortunate for Empire. They don't end up using a Chronosphere, but there is a dual win regardless. Second one of the game. Or Ghost Stick. But that is really unfortunate. He ends up getting denied there. Meanwhile, split push happening elsewhere in towards the mid lane. Not much done on the structures, but as we mentioned earlier, Dendi recovering nicely as well. The Tricore of the Radiant side are pretty much at parity with this Void for Aloha Dance on Empire side. The gap not nearly as wide as it once was. General, he's going to be chronoed up. Dendi is behind him, but not looking to necessarily reinitiate, as it was just his Batrider. So will simply be a Chronosphere for a Batrider trade at this point.
Yeah, as you said, at least they get the dual damage victory for Legion Commander. She's dueled a lot to get a lot of kills for the team, but has never really gotten any damage off of it. So that is something that they need to get going, Empire. Just extra damage on their Legion, especially now that she's going for a non-damage item versus Blade Mail. Raw damage is needed to take down the towers. As we've already seen, they're really bad at it. And at least Legion Commander can offer something once she gets, plus 50, plus 60 damage from her ultimate. So it's a start there. And Na'Vi are still kind of getting picked off without having much pick-off power of their own. They were sitting under Observer Sentry that entire time, so that's kind of just bound to happen. But they are at a point where they have their tools, initiation-wise, Blink Daggers, Force Staves, Finger of Death still available. They don't really have the best late game versus what Empire have. So Na'Vi have recovered, I think, enough to the point where they have to start looking to get back on the aggressive. Because if they wait too long, then Empire is just going to eventually just get better heroes in the late game.
Speaking of which, Na'Vi smoked up as 5. 2 Blink Daggers available, Force Staff in hand for General as well. And Radiant do have a scan. I'd use it here. But there are some heroes showing underneath the wave. Everyone behind them, though. Both teams very cautious here. General gonna have his smoke pop. He'll find Ghost Stick, though. Finger of Death immediately is there, but there's the banish onto the Legion Commander. Gonna keep her safe for now. So Neko, he's in trouble. Ghost Stick is gonna get silenced up immediately by Dendi. Earth Splitter gonna come through, and it connects onto 3 for Na'Vi. Ditya, though, Sanity's Eclipse. The hammer will bring him down. Artstyle in trouble as well. Purify will be their triple kill for G. And Empire, despite a good initiation, that Aether Lens, enough to keep the Legion Commander alive long enough for the counter initiation to come through from Empire side. They even withhold the Chronosphere for Aloha Dance. And yeah, you suck at hitting buildings, but 30 seconds, 2 heroes on the sidelines here, and they should be able to get this tier 2. Jump forward, G. He's going to find Dendi.
Arrow.
Arrow's going to fly through and connect. Dendi's going to drop Purification. Will finish the job. And King R and Empire sparing no expense to bring down Dendi, as they should. Mid lane, though, they have to deal with it. General pushing forward. Ghostic looking to find the Batrider. Overwhelming odds will connect on him, but he'll be able to TP out in due time. And it will get the tier 2 out of it when all is said and done. Na'Vi playing decently around this 5-man from Empire, but that is a big win going Empire's way in that bottom lane.
They need their initiation to kill someone right off the bat. Like when you pick up a Batrider and a Puck and you decide to Finger of Death whoever's hit by that lasso, if you don't get that kill, then you're wasting the vast majority of your team's strength, because damage-wise, Puck and Batrider don't exactly do the most compared to some other cores that they could have been replaced with. So then it's only Clinks to kind of like pick off the stragglers. Looking at Aloha Dance, who just used his Time Walk to get close to the creep wave. Now he's getting hexed up, spiked up as well. Arrows will do enough. They find a free basis kill. That's a good way to start. But yeah, for the Empire side, they get a really, really big win because they're able to save that Legion Commander. Doesn't really do a hell of a lot afterwards, but it wastes all of Navi's power.
Saneko, he's close to picking up that Blink Dagger. You noticed before him spending some time in that bot lane farming alone while Empire were 5-manning, and looks to have bore some fruit for him here. 3 assists to his name, so not the greatest KDA at this point, but he will be able to pick up that all-important Blink Dagger to try and facilitate some more kills like that. And, you know, the one time Empire has a core out by his lonesome without a repel, without a press the attack behind him, without a banish behind him, he gets punished immediately. So very good recognition from Na'Vi.
Gonna take a trip through the enemy jungle. Gem on General. Looking to lock down the map and open up the door for Ditcher Raw to play a little bit more aggressively. Clearly he has enough damage to get those kills if he's able to find someone out alone, but there are no heroes alone in the meantime. They're all in Roche, and this Roche is dropping a lot faster, is going to be claimed free. No towers to fall even in favor of Na'Vi, so now that Empire have, well, essentially is locked up a double life plus a Chronosphere, it's time to get right back on the horse and look for at least a little bit more dual damage. And they also have the Moonlight Shadow now, just leveled up by the Moran to level 2. So it's looking pretty good for Empire right now, as long as they are able to keep one another covered with the Press the Attack and the Imprison with the LC and the OD respectively.
Dendi pushing out top lane with the Veil. And he'll feel relatively safe with a little bit of vision offered to them on the cliff here. But Na'Vi continuing to kind of play this split up style, find picks when they can, avoid the 5-man, the scary 5-man of Empire, and it seems to have brought them back into this game to this point. But they are gonna need some more vision, and not too long ago they did pick up a gem, which is currently on General. So if he's you know, walking around looking to D-ward, dropping sticky napalms, and he is able to do that successfully, they should be able to find the initiations that they so desperately need on these heroes.
Big smoke up here from the Dire side. Getting the surprise on Na'Vi is another way that they just completely nullify the vast strength of the Na'Vi draft. Smoke and Moonlight Shadow, and it will run into Clinks? Not quite. They will run into the almost entirety of Na'Vi, though. Oh, it looks like they will run to the Puck first. No, blink away from everyone. Once again, Denny with the quick fingers, but now he's got an orb deep into the trees. Chronosphere not going to be casted. Can they even reach him? Time walk in, Chrono. They got him. Oh, they actually have an angle on him. Not bad, but it's Puck in the trees. You're never going to find him again. There goes Dendi off to the side.
He has a TP at this point now. Oh, but the leap forward from Miposhka's going to find him. Point blank range. Arrow will connect. Dendi does not phase shift it. And now he's banished. Cannot jaunt. Lovely play there from G. Miposhka going to net them that kill onto Dendi, and unfortunately Ditcher Raw nowhere near a building to punish Empire for it. But it is a lot of time committed at the very least for Empire. The Chronosphere there as well, so it wouldn't be a terrible decision for Na'Vi to perhaps take this fight.
Buying a little bit of time, that's the small consolation prize for Na'Vi. They're unable to get any kills on the Empire side, and yes, they are like at least starting to draw up the gold a little bit more. The Empire starting to get it right back. They're not really translating the gold into anything meaningful to the same degree as Empire, who have just bigger items on more relevant damaging heroes. at this stage in the game. We haven't really seen Blink Dagger Force Staff on Batrider do all that much. Same thing with the puck. So far, Blink Dagger on Lion has done pretty much nothing for him except for get him out of that bottom lane situation alive, which is kind of nice, but you really want to be more so on the aggressive because staying alive isn't how you win this game. They need to find more kills, and Klinks is ready to do that. He's got the crit up, opting for a no Desolator right now. I think that's actually the right decision considering his team comp, but like, when do they actually find those kills? When do Na'Vi start playing aggressively? Doesn't seem like they're quite ready for that, but when will they ever be ready for that?
It needs to happen at some point. And Empire, credit to them, have for the most part stayed grouped, so it's been difficult for them to find any solo picks. And you see Dendi get immediately aggressive as he sees Aloha dance towards the bot lane, much like they did last time they saw Aloha dance. But now Aloha dance has both Manta and Diffusal Blade, so a lot of defensive capability in terms of purging off silences, and he should be, for the most part, fairly survivable, even if he is out by his lonesome. G looking to find someone here, and he will end up finding Ditya Raw. Earth Splitter is going to fly through. Arrow does not connect. Earth Splitter does connect onto G. The dust is going to be a bit late, and that'll be all she wrote for the time being. Dendi sitting up on the high ground. Throws an orb down, just trying to nuke out this wave. Alongside the Echo Stomp will do a pretty good job of it.
Gotta watch out for the split pushing Lion Empire. Slowly but surely top lane being pushed, but at this point you have the Manta Style and the Diffusal Blade under the Void. Still not the best tower destroyer, but more than capable enough to bring that one down, so it's another tower for free. For the Empire side, that's the last outer tower, in fact, for Na'Vi. They actually are able to grab a Scythe of Vice on Dendi. That is some big game, but it's not really going to help out their damage output all that much, so Empire still have that in spades. I mean, Na'Vi are just slowly but surely losing map control right now without really doing much in the way of aggression.
Yeah.
So Empire are
Feels like
feeling free to just go wherever they want. BKB on Legion Commander, definitely an item worth waiting for before they decide to go for any significant high ground play.
So they just picked up level 11 online. He has the Blink Dagger and a Smoke in hand. They got the Hex up as well onto Dendi. So it does feel... I was wondering where this music came from. Seneco's taunting. But I feel like this is a large ramp up in their team fight potential. So I feel like if there's any time to make a move, now would be the time. But in response to Dendi's Hex, a Hex now going to come out for G as well, who is very fat on this OD.
Just 1800 HP worth of OD is so difficult for Na'Vi to get through, even if he just stood there and didn't attack. The fact that he's hitting for this much damage as well with the Hurricane Pike and the Blink Dagger, it's just it's a lot for Na'Vi to deal with right now. They're trying to set up an elaborate trap up towards top lane. A couple heroes in the area, but crucially, the hero that's not there is the Klinks. So you can try to jump on the Faceless Void. They are not going to get the kill if they try to do that. Arrow out. Will miss. Everyone, or Batrider will TP out. Still Puck and Lion are kind of chilling here. They're all going to leave. So all this like space creation for Na'Vi with not that much benefit.
Yeah, still another smoke attempt thwarted. Another one failed, and farm at the very least found across the map by the remainder of Na'Vi, while Empire remains grouped up. And this is just, I guess, the shortcoming of their lineup in the sense that they're so good at taking full-scale engagements, but they're just kind of poor at slow sieging. And as you mentioned, with the Manta style coming out, it's going to be a little bit better now, but it's not such that they can constantly throw things at towers as a Shadow Demon lineup perhaps could in the typical sense. So Empire really do need to find a pick, or at least a Roshan, before they look at this high ground.
I feel like eventually, though, it's going to happen. Like, it's not that hard for them to just find someone, drop a Chronosphere on them, really regardless of who it is, and kind of accept that fact. Alternatively, you have Blink Hex on OD, which is an above average way of initiating, and speaking of, he's looking for a Lion in the trees. Lion is no longer in the trees, and now it's still going to get hexed. 1, 2, 3 shots. Easy.
G going to find himself that much needed kill, and had they been a little bit more fortunate, Miposhko with the gem may have seen Ditya Raw, but he was able to sneak out and scurry away just moments before that. But this should be enough of a window for the time being for Empire to march down this bottom lane. They'll do have Chrono in hand, but need Ghost Stick to join up with them. He's actually extremely close to the BKB right now, so perhaps that's just the last piece of the puzzle that Empire's waiting before they can look to siege.
I mean, they waited this long. You might as well wait for another Roche. This should be number 3 for Cheese as well. So Yeah, I mean, they're really not in any rush. Again, the damage is coming up on the Empire side and not up on the Navi side, or at least a lot more in favor of the Empire side. And if it's a fast Rosh respawn, they can still get that 10-second BKB charge. Lose a tier 2 tower for the Roshan, fine. That doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Navi are not really anywhere close to being able to take Raxes. Like, the best case scenario I see for Navi to evenly Rax Empire is if the Clinks just like split pushes and rats the entire time. And that means he's not in the fight, so that means not the rest of Navi are probably dying. So yeah, they have all the time in the world. And it looks like they'll need all the time in the world because Roshan decides to take his sweet time.
It's not like we just had a 75-minute game. It's fine.
We have all the time in the world too.
Dendi up in the trees, top lane. Aloha Dance stalking, but just shoving this out for now. Dendi really doesn't have much solo kill potential aside from perhaps an Omni Knight or Mirana. Mirana, full Solar Crest in hand, helps out with the Rosh a little bit. And he's going to TP in towards this middle lane to join up with the rest of Empire, who are going to take a look at Roshan, but unfortunately not going to find much. They do get an invisibility rune, though. This could definitely help them out. Ditya nearby.
Poshka's the one with the gem, so Ra's got to be a little bit careful here. They see a Batrider was in the area.
Throw the repel
Like, it's
up
just
on
a
G.
huge game of whack-a-mole here for Empire. I haven't found any recently, but I think it's only a matter of time before someone.
They've been fairly inaccurate with their hammer, if we're talking whack-a-mole at this point, and Ditya been a little bit of a pesky mole, but either way, they should just be able to, as you mentioned, wait out the Roshan, take that, use that as that kind of last tool they need in their kit in order to look to go towards the high ground. But a smoke now and a Moonlight Shadow immediately. General into the Firefly. Silence onto two.
Wow.
They're from Puck, and King R will be the first to drop. Earthsplitter going to come through. The Chronosphere is not ideal. It even gets Ghost Stick in it, but the Sanity's Eclipse will do enough work. And they should be able to bring down Dendi here shortly. Ditya getting low as well. Dendi going to rejoin the fray and help out to bring down Ghost Stick. That's going to be a duel lost as well, as the Elder Titan will pick himself up 14 staplers. And 3 down on Empire's side. Flame Break. One sticky napalm. Yeah, will take her out. And that's a gem on the deck. If they're aware of that, they can go looking. Aloha Dance, very low on mana, has 1 time walk available. Not enough for a TP, or just enough for a TP. Now, and we'll be able to make it out. Ditya though, will he find the gem? No, the courier was already there to take it. But that's a pretty big win for Na'Vi. And unfortunately, there was no Rosh right off the back of that for them to take. But it will be some item progression going their way. 4,600 gold on Ditya, 4,000 on the Batrider, 3,000 onto Dendi, who played that fight masterfully on his Puck. And Na'Vi, simply with better execution, is hanging around in this game.
And that's what happens when you catch 2 heroes clumped up, one right on top of the other, with this type of AoE opening for Na'Vi, so they instantly get the advantage by dropping those 2 heroes solo. When the Chronosphere drops on the Faceless Void, it drops on the Clinks, but he's not focused at all. So Clinks is just chilling there in the Chronosphere, not taking any damage, and that's perfectly fine for Ditya because it also catches the Legion Commander, who's also sitting there not taking damage, and that's worse for Empire than it is for Na'Vi. Ditya was not really taking any damage throughout the entirety of it. Like, random AoE spells here and there, like the Eclipse hit him pretty hard, but aside from that, he was able to stand in place and just right click. Empire need to focus this Clinks. He should be on top of the priority list, but instead he was somewhere near the bottom, maybe just because he was in the trees and not easily accessible. But either way, Na'Vi kind of get a lucky break there in initiating, and they're going to get a lot of extra cash on top of that. Deadless BKB now up on the Clinks, plus General packing the Shivas, which is a big item against Empire, and they're not done yet. They're going to reinitiate one more time, go in, grab Ghost Stick, no imprison, as G's being focused on, but he tries to imprison himself. Great stomp onto the 2. He's going to end up killing the Void and the Omnight as Ghost Stick. He's going to try to book with the Blade Mail, not doing nearly enough, though. And now it's going to be 3 heroes down in favor of Na'Vi. Omnight's had enough, but in all seriousness, there is a Yule Scepter here on General. Is that in range for Imposhka?
Well, he's got vision of him, barely. Radiant Vision, even though it's nighttime, seems to see the Mirana at this point, and he does have a gem. So, if for nothing else, can continue to chase forward. There is that bit of bonus movement speed up on Miposhka, though, so he should be able to fog him almost immediately after the pause. Either way, Na'Vi taking 2 back-to-back monumental fights for their side, and 3 heroes down, none of which have buyback at this point, and we know how quickly Clinks can deal with these structures. General continuing to chase forward, will get the Yules up. Neposhka already used the leap, but will be silenced for good measure. Brought down, that's a gem on the deck, and a jaunt forward from Dendi. He gets hexed up. G's gonna try and turn into him. Nice phase shift is there. There's the Imprison, but Artstyle, no, does not have the Echo Stomp, but they do have the Shivas. Big nuke is gonna hit everyone. And G able to blink out to the north. Nicely played by the OD. He'll be able to survive, but still 4 heroes on the sidelines here. For Empire side, Na'Vi dealing with them. Doesn't feel like they're healthy enough to take Roche, but can just kind of rinse and repeat and get back into this one. First BKB charge for Dityara. He had free reign in that fight, taking G out of it immediately, then turning and taking out the Omni Knight. Still has 4 charges on his Diffusal Blade, and it looks like they will make the attempt for Roche. With the Void still on the sideline, Dityara has more than enough damage, as long as he doesn't get bashed here, to bring this down before there's any reaction. Arrow gonna fly through. It does connect onto Suneko and forces them to use a Force Staff. Shiva's gonna give them vision for General. This is very risky from Na'Vi, trying to bring down this roaster, jumping forward. Overwhelming odds is there. They're gonna pop it. Oh, they'll get the duel off in time onto Dityara, and the Dendi will be forced to pick up the Aegis and get out. But such a risky play from Na'Vi, will end up losing their Clinks because of it. Trade a couple BKB charges when all is said and done. Clinks, Legion Commander, will do so. Gets a dual win. Does the Legion. It's a level 2 dual win only, though. But it is enough of a window for them to force a buyback on Dityara.
This is going to be tough for Na'Vi to hold. The OD walks away with the cheese. Still hits very, very hard. And the stall tactics from Na'Vi, not sure if they're going to be quite good enough to stop Empire from going in for this. They still have all these abilities in order to initiate. And now that OD has his cheese as well, he's not going to be forced to self-imprison himself. That's just not going to happen. They're instead going to grab someone else and imprison immediately afterwards. They still have a sheep stick, they still have a coil, but he's not in range anymore. Plus, he's got the BKB, so they're just trying to stall so that they don't have to expend this buyback on Clinks.
Jump forward from G.
It might just work. The tower is expendable.
Arrow going to be dodged by Suneko. Looks like the tier 3 may be the only major casualty. They will glyph up here. Jump forward. Impale is going to catch Aloha Dance. Ghost Stick looking for the duel. Won't get there in time. He expends his 8-second BKB. 7-second BKB, excuse me. So down to 6 now for this Ghost Stick Legion Commander. And that'll be enough to buy the time for Dityara to respawn here. 20 seconds until Lasso. Dendi can blink Hex Initiate. He does have an Aegis, but they need General's Gem nearby. Empire looking to catch someone out to clear up this wave. Fake backing, essentially, here. But no one from Na'Vi gonna bite. Dendi walking out of base does have the Aegis. Not the most ideal target for Empire to go for. The duel is still up for them.
That confidence from Dityara, just not going in the mid lane at all, going up towards the secret shop, spends his buyback gold in order to buy an ultimate orb. I say confidence. I'm not entirely sure that confidence is the right word.
Got a little bit of Vega Mag syndrome from earlier today. We'll see how that ends up working out for him. Just for an ultimate orb, it is a bit peculiar to see. But Lincoln Sphere going to be finished up for Dendi. That's a big item for him. If they waste a Hex on him or a duel, that could be a massive turn in the tides of the team fight going forward. King R looks to reconnect here and get this one back underway. This is much more of a game than perhaps we would have expected it to be after that laning stage. Empire went 4-0 in the first sub 5 minutes of this game, killing off Dendi twice in the mid lane, but look how perfectly positioned they are. Dendi has an Aegis, though. He's not the target they want. They'll go for Suneko. They'll get him in 3 right clicks of the OD. Dendi will be brought down, not under the dual damage, though. Meanwhile, on the backside, they'll find the Chronosphere onto Artstyle. He'll be brought down solo. Dendi will be able to blink down to the south. Jump forward. Lincoln Sphere keeps him safe. And so it's a couple of big team fight ultimates used. 2 supports taken out when all is said and done. Dityara, we'll see Ghost Stick, but he does have a BKB, so it's going to be hard to kill him off with the Purge. Blade Mail there as well will do a lot of work, so Dityara thinks better of it.
He has no Firefly, no teleport out either, and he's going to get surrounded. He's going to look for the Mirana. Suddenly realize he can't go up against Mirana and OD. And then Omni Knight's going to leave.
There's still a Hurricane
G
Pike.
just Hurricane Pikes and kills him, right?
Yeah.
or forces out the Yule Scepter, then kills him.
Should get at least one more right click off before he goes out of Hex. There's still potential for General to force, like, Yule's up G and then force away, perhaps, but it doesn't look good.
He has to wait so that when he does Yule's the OD, he's able to immediately teleport out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 seconds. With Miposhka still in the area with an arrow.
Blink cooling down for 8 seconds. He should be pretty screwed here.
So we're going to see some absolute magic from the Bat Rider. I don't know what that means, but I'm pretty sure General's like, you guys aren't going to kill me.
Yeah, it's probably like, write this on my tombstone. Remember me.
No, I think it's more of, you guys are wasting your time. You might as well just leave right now, because you're not going to kill me. But, yeah, for Na'Vi, they desperately need to buy the Klink's time for another 750 worth of farm, get that buyback online. They lose the line, lose the ET. Losses, yes, but not game-losing losses just yet, so Na'Vi can still afford to stick in this game. General does have a buyback, though he is carrying a gem that is going to be a significant loss. Is able to stay in the fight should Empire start pushing back into the Na'Vi base. Plus, Stitchira's up towards top, so he's going to be split pushing that all the while. And Empire are getting a lot of gold off of these kills, granted, but still not quite in a spot where they can go for a win.
Yeah, sieging is definitely not their strong suit. And they've yet to find kills significant enough or well positioned enough to take structures off the back of it. Still not even getting that tier 3 in the mid lane. The kills they just took in mid, the lanes were not in the position where they could punish off the back of those kills. So although Empire is gaining a lead of sorts, they have yet to be able to push down these structures. I feel like the fact that the tier 2s are still up in top and mid are the only reason that Empire feels very safe to kind of play this cat and mouse game that you were mentioning before, where they're chasing around trying to look for pickoffs or fights. But if those tier 2s get brought down relatively soon by Ditya, they're going to have a lot more of a threat of split push.
Ditya getting to a point where you can just backdoor those. Like, Klinks is already really good at killing off towers, and Klinks with this much farm is just, it's pretty easy, top lane especially. Starting chip at tier 3s afterwards while the rest of the team stalls, again, that's what I think is eventually going to end up being the plan. Out of desperation, if it does come to that. Ditya does need a TP scroll if that is going to, in fact, be what they're going for. But maybe Na'Vi can just keep hoping that the Omni Knight has connection issues and then can't ever cast a timely Repeller GA.
Sure. That's a strat, right?
I mean, it's clearly working so far. This is like pause number 8. I'm just trying to think of how General is going to get out of this.
It's possible. If he turns, though, for the Yules, he's likely going to eat an arrow, I feel. So he's got to do something a little unpredictable. But maybe too much time to think about it for either sides. Yeah,
there's going to be so much next leveling here.
Or
there's
like
no leap
everyone
on
just screws up. Like
everyone just ends up walking away by accident. I guess that's Empire screwing up.
It's nice to see these CIS teams feel each other out again, though. I mean, Vega and VP were able to do so a bit in Dream League. But Empire and Na'Vi, haven't seen much of them recently, as you touch upon in the draft. And, neither of these games being elimination today, definitely nice to see them try things out. This 5th pick Klinks, 5th pick Legion from either side. We'll see how it ends up panning out. Empire definitely feels like, much like maybe Vega earlier in the day, they just weren't able to press their laning advantage enough in towards this mid game. And Ditya specifically playing very well around them, making it difficult for them to find anything significant off the back of these picks. But I feel like Na'Vi would have been in a much better position in this game had they not attempted to go for that road.
Yeah, that screwed them over pretty hard. Like the Aegis on Dendi still gave dual damage to Legion. I think she did end up killing him with that.
They killed the Aegis. I don't think she actually got the duel off of it. But
no, if you kill an Aegis, you still get the
but I think they did right after the duel ended. But
well, either way, like Aegis on Puck in that scenario especially.
Yeah, and then definitely
really do anything. Like you don't die, you're still alive, so you can still farm and whatnot. But You don't want to be using Aegis in that fashion, and OD still has the cheese. So that's like the permanent advantage that Empire got from Navi's Roche attempt. Yeah, Navi still have a gold lead. Like, they actually have brought it back, but it's not really a significant enough one.
Yeah.
Considering how this game is going for them to feel really comfortable.
5K on
Unless
G as
Empire
well.
run out of pause time. Again, hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. Them's the rules.
3 minutes. That was probably, what, a minute and a half ago?
It's not my job to keep track of the time. That's what HZ is here for. Shout out to HZ.
HC, HZ, whatever.
America has it right. Through all of you guys.
Alright, well, we'll see what happens to General next time on Dragon Ball Z. But other than that,
Can we poll the audience? 1 if General survives, 2 if he dies.
lol. Lol for undecided.
Yeah. That's I like doing that. I mean, this situation, like, he has so few resources. He doesn't even have Firefly.
Mm.
If he had that, maybe he could do something weird with the cliffs and the trees. Just wait for Blink or TP.
You are a pig. Cannot attack or cast spells. Literally pigged. The name of
Can't
that diva.
Firefly while pigged.
Rip.
Never when pigs fly.
Well, if you Firefly before getting pigged, pigs can fly.
That's true, but he doesn't have it right now.
So he's got about
Clearly.
1.7 seconds of sheep left. So 4-staff forward. Imprison is there. Yeah, he doesn't survive. He has
He
Imprison.
has to stall for Firefly to completely lose them.
No, yeah. There's no way he survives. G just forces it into Imprison and Arrow.
1 for survive, 2 for die, lull for undecided. There is only one right answer, guys.
I didn't realize that he had
Mind.
Imprison this entire time, so this is over. But
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
Imprison
about the
Arrow's
game.
dead.
Yeah.
Imprison into Yule Scepter, dodge arrow, 4 staff away, get Firefly because the Imprison takes 4 seconds, and that shaves 4 seconds off of the Firefly, gets him the TP cooldown, 4 seconds of Blink also.
Go. No. He's not here. He's just in game, but he's not here. Feel how Dendy feels. I'm just empty inside. Just enter space.
I was joking about that whole like running out of pause time thing, but like that's actually the worst thing that could ever happen in Dota.
No more pause with a Z time. It's cool pauses.
Feels bad, man. All right, General, show me some magic. Rooting
What do
for
we
the
got,
underdog
General?
here.
Okay.
The suspense is killing me. Are Na'Vi going to use their pause time like true gentlemen?
Oh, that's really shitty of them. Why are they so sportsmanlike? We want to see how this pans out here.
I'm seeing a lot more 1s and lulls than 2.
Yeah, 2 is definitely the high odds choice. If you're a gambling man, enter 2, but a lot of good Dota going on right now. DotaPit, the Summit, Dream League, Boston Major to come in December, Summit 5 end of November, Summit 6, excuse me. DotaPit LAN.
Too much Dota, too many dates to remember.
So little time. Real life and things.
So much Dota.
If real life didn't get in the way of Dota so much, everything would just be fine, honestly. But you know.
Yeah, and if these players had internet connections also,
Yeah, that would be
it would
good.
probably be over by now.
That would be good. This is very nice of Navi, honestly.
Hearts for everybody.
I would make a deal. Listen, if you let General survive, we'll pause.
Yeah.
That would be my play in this scenario.
Listen to our demands, and you'll get your pause time. I'm not sure if Navi negotiate with terrorists, though. That's pretty much what this is. Like,
Hostage situation.
Gotta-
This is a delicate hostage situation. They've got
Yeah.
our pig, and they
return
won't let
the
him
pig
go.
alive.
Expensive cargo in this bottom lane. So yeah, other than that, anything important? I mean, Dityara needs his buyback pretty badly. Ghost Stick hasn't really progressed in the way of items or duels, really. 38 damage. I mean, the Elder Titan's got 14 damage at this point, so Empire's still really piss poor at hitting buildings. But other than that,
Watch out for that stapler. Is this Lotus Orb the ET's newest item? I don't think it got
believe so.
used yet.
Pretty good against the Hex.
Yeah, that's the dream. Reflecting Hex onto an OD with a
Even
way
just
of countering that by himself.
yeah, even just purging it would be nice. Reflecting is definitely the dream, but just from the back lines, purging that off. Be nice if you could.
What happens if you Lotus and then you get dueled?
It's double the
Nothing, right?
damage. It's double the damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the winner gets double the damage, as far as I recall.
Oh.
Yes.
Raising stakes.
Yeah. Both people want to duel, so it's doubled down.
Not sure if
I
anyone
believe.
wants to duel this Legion at this point. She's not like the most stacked Legion we've seen. In fact, her score is actually pretty bad.
Mhm.
But still, it's a Legion commander with blade mail at
I
home.
mean,
to
you have
purge.
Omni Knight behind you at the end of the day, so it's hard to lose the duel, it feels. But we've seen it happen in that mid lane. A lot by virtue of Dendy's play on that puck, so. Dota 2.
Got some update.
Okay,
Future
great.
version of Dota. Well, we're just
Wonderful.
like here in like 0.88 F land or whatever we're at nowadays.
Is it F now? I thought it was E.
I have no freaking clue. I
pretty
just know
sure
that there's
it's E.
patches.
We're still in 688. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a pretty wide hero pool for the most part. I mean, you've got your top tier with OD, Mirana, Drow, Shadow Demon. But aside from that, a lot of flexibility.
This has been definitely one of the better patches.
Mhm.
Of course, everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
It's hard to
when's the
change
new
away
patch?
from it. Yeah, it's just hard to change away from it because it feels so balanced. But let's just buff the shit out of Ember Spirit, I think, right? Please.
I've had enough of Ember Spirit for one lifetime.
I can never have enough Ember Spirit, personally.
I do like how Luna's viable.
Yeah.
Luna's a pretty good hero.
I mean, Luna
I like how
Shadow Demon is
Gyrocopter's not
viable.
viable.
I don't know if Luna's viable. Luna Shadow Demon is viable for sure.
Hey, it's all about teamwork. It's a team
It's a
game.
team game. It's a team
Yeah.
game. Fair point.
I like how Gyrocopter is unplayable. I've had enough of that guy for about forever.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see some
Can't argue
Visage
with
though.
that. Yeah, Visage has just been shit on for many, many patches, and there's so many good Visage players. It really is sad. But that Stormform nerf just sent him into oblivion. It feels, but
You would think that like Drow Ranger being such a good pick and Gyrocopter being such a bad pick would make Visage a lot better.
yeah. So I guess with the reemergence of dual lanes and all the roaming, like, there's no more like try on try situations where Visage feasts. So it just makes it kind of a shit hero.
And when that does happen, it's like, why would you pick a Visage when you could pick an Undying? It's like better in every single way in those like full try lanes.
Like we're talking like we know Dota or something. It's funny.
I have played Dota in the past. I don't know about this Dota 2 game though. It seems pretty overwhelming and fancy. Like, what is the scan business I keep hearing about?
It's a big hat. It's funny.
Yeah. It's like, wow, you can turn into a pig in this game? Let me open Steam right now and download it.
Pauses are wonderful. So we still got pendants in the game. Right? These are
Yeah.
two teams that have been around forever. Long enough to have the pennant and still use it.
They haven't released any new ones, right? Like in the past, like 3 years or something.
No. The Cloud9
I still have my Zenith pennant.
Cloud9 one is still like $2 on the store, I feel.
Is that a lot for a pennant? I have no idea.
Yeah. It's actually like
Oh.
on the expensive end.
Okay. I'm not gonna buy one.
Everyone just
Not
wants
sure
to.
when we're gonna see another C9 Dota team.
Yeah. Well, the problem with seeing another C9 Dota team is that players want to win. So C9, yeah.
Hey, but as a brand, if I was a C9 manager, I'm like, yo, we got so many fans, even if we don't win, They'll still buy our
I've experienced too much heartbreak over Cloud9 games in my life to ever want to see it again, honestly.
Dude, I'm waiting for the
Just
day
leave
where
it
my
where it
Zenith
is.
pen is gonna be relevant.
Yep.
Get Loda back in Southeast Asian Dota.
Mhm.
Run Sniper and blow everyone's mind. But now Sniper is actually kind of viable.
So China won TI, but China's pretty bad at Dota, I want to say, right now.
That is true. China confirmed worst region right here by MRP Dota. Write that down, put it
I
on
mean,
the fridge.
overall, they're not as good as we thought they were.
Sure.
I mean, I guess they had 2 top 5 teams, right? eHome was top 5?
I don't remember.
Yeah, eHome was definitely top.
Do you think I remember what happens in Dota?
It's not like you were at TI watching
No.
it in the stadium.
Once a team gets knocked out, they're
Yeah.
just like out in
Yeah.
my mind. I just like forget about them completely. That's how it works.
Well, I have to say at this point. Okay, guys.
I'm only here to see if General dies. Me too, man. Me too.
We started casting. Okay, we started casting 5.5 hours ago. This is our 3rd game. This is literally the 3rd game of the day. 5.5
mean,
hours.
75 minutes. That was a real game. Like it was slow game, but it was real. This
This
one
is
was
fake,
like
yeah.
75 minutes of 43-minute game.
Are you calling this game fake? I'm telling Dendy.
No, I'm saying that like half of this duration was pause time.
Fake Dota 2 is what it is. Alright, I believe someone can micro Omni Knight. Can we get Sir Action Slacks in here? Stand in Slacks? Sir, stand in Slacks, please?
Unfortunately, Volvo long ago implemented a load feature, and since then
Yeah.
they beat
They
it
just-
with a wrench until
they
it
just
broke,
forgot
and they have
about
never
it.
touched it again.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot.
Dude, that load feature, it wasn't perfect, but
was
it was
good.
really useful.
It was good. You know, I'm. You know, you don't know what you got till it's gone. So.
That was also the time when everyone and their mom got DDoSed. And now that doesn't happen anymore, right? Like, knock on wood. But it's not there anymore, so like when someone has actual like
Yeah, video
problems,
games are
it's
in a
like-
bad state when people's mothers are getting DDoSed. Let's just put it that way.
Mom, get off the internet, I'm playing games.
Everyone's just getting DDoSed. Good old 56k if someone picks up the phone and DCs you from Warcraft 3. Rip.
Dude, Warcraft 3, Dota. Them's were the days. Didn't have to worry about playing support heroes.
Right?
You played
5
support
core
heroes
lineups.
like Venge, you're like, I'm gonna farm Venge. Then you fought your anti-mage for farm. Good times.
Dota 1. I just like the names of things in Dota 1, honestly.
Dude, these new Dota 2 items, like the ones that they've implemented since the release of Dota 2 that were not in Dota 1, they don't have
We league.
skill names. Like look at Bloodthorn.
We league now.
It's called Active. The hell's that?
We league now. EDR's in the game. Hey, can we go? Oh. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. All right.
General, you better survive
1
this.
2 low. All right,
Okay.
he's dead.
Yeah, he's pretty screwed. Unless Yule's
Oh, he missed the arrow.
probably missed.
Blink in 1 second. Force dive.
Yes.
Blink. Yeah, panic mode. Did you see
Oh,
that?
no, they just wasted time so he can get a duel win. Dude, that was such a good run.
you
though.
see
Like,
that
was
force
so
staff
much more than I
blink?
expected from General in that stage, but it ended up being worse than just standing still and dying.
He forced south and blinked north. I don't know. That was good. That was. I don't know if that was worth all the pause time, but it came damn close. All right. So everyone that
Can't
typed
get out of there
1,
without a substantial amount of mind gaming, and that's what it's all about. It's like, oh, he's going south. No, he's actually going north, and he didn't move at all.
oh Lord. Well, thanks for the show, General. I suppose.
Right.
We're back into
We should
this
probably
one.
start casting Dota right now again,
Right,
since
right.
I think that's what we're here
I
for.
believe we have a game again.
We have an invisible Legion commander. He doesn't have any way of
No
popping this
duel.
Lincoln
Oh,
Sphere
she
on
does have
Puck
a
though,
duel.
so he can't do it by himself. And there's a sentry and an observer here, so he's just spotted no matter what. And they jump
Forward.
on him.
Oh, they are going to find her under sentry range. Hex is there as well, but Aloha Dance nearby with the Chrono, and
Snakeo's
Navi
like, I
will
should've
just
done
sack
that.
Seneko. I immediately regret my decision in all chat. But it was a good thought. You know? Gotta make plays. Gotta play to win the game as opposed to play to not lose. So General gonna respawn again. Deal with this bottom lane a little bit. And Dityara desperately looking to find some farm. He will just now get enough for buyback, but if he dies, he'll lose a little gold, presumably, and not have enough. So gonna need a little bit of a cushion there. Cheese still in hand.
I think if Dityara was a little bit closer, they would have actually went for that for real. But the Lion was like, yo, I could disable this guy. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then the Clinks just was way too far away. And the Puck was not willing to commit to that either. But we still got Empire just roaming around as, well, not quite 5-man, but roaming death squads through the Radiant jungle, forcing General to do stuff like this. Just like super cheesy tactics just to buy space, just to buy time, get the Clinks enough gold for his buyback, which he does have right now. So, you know, Ultimate Orb unpunished. Which is, I guess, kind of nice for Dityara, but still, it is Empire. Just, you know, you fear the Empire squad. You can't really fight them head on like this.
It still does feel like Navi's winning the farm war, though. It feels like Empire are spending a lot of time in close quarters, whereas at the very least, Dityara is farming off by his lonesome for the most part. He's got 3k gold in addition to that ultimate orb, 900 in surplus to buyback, so can't even pick up a second ultimate orb here, but doesn't really have the slot for it. Wants to get rid of his soul ring, sure. Why not? Has probably enough stats to sustain through the death pact usage, but for now he'll hold on to it.
Dityara just and the team of Navi just almost leaning completely on split pushing and being annoying in order to win this game. That's what Clinks and Batrider are pretty darn good at. Puck is not too shabby himself either. Empire, as you said, they're wasting or using a lot of time walking around and not that much time doing anything else. So they have to find kills to make this all balance out in the end.
They're so spooky. Like, Navi just doesn't ever want to see them. All they want to do is party, and Navi's just completely avoiding them.
Why would you want to go into things that are spooky? That makes no sense. Batrider's gonna blow smoke on Void.
A haunted house, right? That makes sense.
Oh, and Batrider is gonna blink out, panic mode engage one more time. Duel, he's dead.
General has provided us with excellent entertainment value all game long. Dire side is going to scout Dityara here and maybe look to shove down this top lane and force a buyback out from General, but the creeps already pushed near towards that tier 2 and no real lane in great scenario, so it's kind of a repetitive story here for Empire. They're constantly finding picks that simply seem to be picks and nothing else. They have never really had the lanes in a great scenario to go down and push a lane. They've never really taken a Roche off the back of it. The only time they took a Roche was off of a very risky play that Navi initiated in the pit. So Empire still feels like they're spending a lot of time together and just not gaining much out of it. And we'll see if Navi are actually able to find anything themselves going forward.
Basil's Void, though, picked up pretty heavy-hitting item. Butterfly, yeah, it's very worse. Just another plus 65 damage a hit, right? Basil's Void just needs that
attack speed as well.
that agility also to funnel into the Manta style to go for the high ground pushes. Make that a little bit more efficient. Just any sort of damage item that Basil's Void can pick up is nice. The fact that it's to the level of Butterfly just makes it pretty insane. Like that, and the fact that Clinks has no way to get around the evasion.
A little bit in close quarters. Top lane was Dendi. G has more than enough to pop his Lincoln Sphere and imprison him or hex him. So a little bit risky from Dendi, but we'll be able to make it back out towards his base. And it looks like Navi looking to group up here alongside their Clinks. They do have the gem up on General, so perhaps it's going to smoke around, look to eliminate some of the vision from Empire side, see if they can't find a good opening.
Clinks doesn't have a buyback. This is really risky by Navi. 300 gold, or 250. I think they could have waited for that.
That's not CIS Dota, man. Come on.
Okay, one life. Let's see it.
CIS Dota, you don't prepare. You just do. Come forward. Oh, they are going to find a target, and it's going to be the Faceless Void. It's a good one to bring down, but he gets the BKB off. Chrono is going to be onto 2. Meanwhile, on the backlines, Dendi is doing some work. Earth Splitter is going to hit through on a couple. for Navi's side, and now the duel down on the south side. They will be able to finally get Dendi. They'll press forward for more here, and they'll find another kill on the Titan General, trying to make his way out. 3-4-0 for Empire, and this is exactly why we see Navi avoid them for so long, is the team fight potential from Empire's side is more than enough. Fight very split up by virtue of that Chronosphere. Instantly going to buy back the Titan. They'll buy back Seneko as well, and likely will need this Dendi buyback. Deyura goes towards the top lane. Still does not have enough gold. He's going to need a kill in this fight to find buyback before he goes down. But there is no Chronosphere here for Aloha Dance. Jump forward from Seneko. He's going to miss the Impale onto the Void. They'll lose their tier 3 in the meantime. Dendi opting not to buy back just yet. May not be the correct decision for him here. They are going to lose the racks because of it. Jumping forward, Hex, though, is going to find General, and now Dendi's buying back after his Bat Rider goes down. General has a buyback available as well. They'll Hex up Aloha Dance. He gets imprisoned, though, and Waning Rift is not going to be there because of it. They will find Ghost Stick on the backline's Finger of Death. They'll bring down the Legion Commander. They'll lose their melee racks. Dream Coil's just now up. Dendi does have it, ready to use it. Will pop it onto 2. Phase shift immediately. They pop the Lincoln Sphere onto G. Jump forward. Sanity's Eclipse. Gonna blow Deyura up. Now the Bash finding Dendi. Time dilation is there as well. He's going to try to jump, but gets hexed up. Deyura in trouble. He's going to be imprisoned now, and it looks like Empire is the beginning of the end for them. BKB from Deyura. He's going to turn and try and fight, but he doesn't have much duration left. Miposhka, he needs a crit onto the Mirana. Will not get it. Art Style, 4 staffs back. Deyura under the cover of Skeleton Walk. Still trying to stave them off, but Chronosphere should be cooling down here shortly. It is. Aloha Dance does have that Chrono available. G has the Blink, so if anyone walks up, expect them to go for it here. They'll take down the second lane of racks with ease. And it looks like this may just be the end for Navi with a very risky play in towards the mid lane. Just fed up with the game and all the pause time, perhaps trying to make something happen. But it is a very costly attempt when all is said and done, and looks like it may just be the end of the game.
I mean, you can kind of understand where Navi were coming from with that. Like, you let Empire take another Roche, and then things get really bad, so they had to make something happen. They're going to lose, though, the L-Time just to a handful of right clicks from the OD. Chronosphere is going to catch the Clinks, who just bought back, and with the Butterfly, we can see how much damage Faceless Boy is actually doing at this point. It's way too much for the Clinks to handle, who was also the focus of the previous Chronosphere, and was the reason why Empire were able to take that one so convincingly. They didn't have to worry about the Clinks. He was at like 1/4 HP when the fight started because of the Chronosphere. Couldn't stay in that fight. So Empire end up taking that, and essentially it was the Roshan bait that that forced Navi into that. But if you sit back and do nothing all day as Navi, like, and it's not a winning strategy. You had to do something, and it just the limitation of their draft. They weren't able to fight headlong to Empire.
Yeah, you can't fight in a scenario where your initiation is predictable, and that's exactly what their high ground would have been, despite having, you know, a Puck and a Bat Rider, which are, generally speaking, good high ground heroes. You kind of want to take the fight where you have some sort of the element of surprise, and they look to do it in the mid lane. It doesn't pan out for them, and Navi were kind of on the back foot in that one, and will end up losing it quite deep into the game. But that is the second game of the series, guys. It's a best of 3, still one coming your way. Empire versus Navi. DotaPit Season 5 CIS group stage, and off the back of a very good laning stage and just good team play overall, Empire going to win that. Miposhka pretty much winning the early game for them solo on his Mirana, ends with 19 assists. And has a great game there. So we'll be back for game 3, guys. Navi and Empire winners going to move on to face in the semifinals of the upper bracket Virtus Pro, who looked very sharp today earlier on up against Vega. So MRP, Mike Loris, guys, we're going to be back relatively soon here with game 3 of Navi versus Empire.
gaming bets. Online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans.
Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match.
Daily quest for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.